I don't fucking think so.
Welcome to Straight Up Reviews, where there's no bullshit beyond the sun. And today it's hot as hell as I'm going to review the sequel to the Great King classic. This is Dr. Sleep. Now before we begin, a little history. Damn, it's hot in here.
In 1977, after a short winter stay at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, Stephen King wrote a book called The Shining. It was about a writer and his family spending the winter caretaking the Overlook Hotel. During their stay, they discover a few things such as scandals, Danny's ability to see future events, and best of all, the ghosts of the hotel who have a particular interest in Danny. The novel was made into the classic 1980 movie directed by Stanley Kubrick, to which King expressed bitter disappointment to. Said disappointment caused The Shining to be remade into a miniseries in 1994 starring Steven Weber, Rebecca de Monroy, and Aha from The Little Rascals. Fans to this day are in constant battle over which is superior.
I like this movie, as it was the first time I ever knew about The Shining, save for that Simpsons parody. I, for one, agree with King, after reading the book. Oh, that was weird. Anyway, because while Kubrick is a genius director, his rendition of the story couldn't be more cliche. It was like Amityville Horror on a mountain. Even with that, he eliminated Jack's alcoholism to a few scenes, even though it was a major plot point, and that insult to injury, he made it ambiguous to whether Jack was losing it or if there were really ghosts. And I would agree with the NC on the Rocky Mallet not being scary. It's still a heavy piece of wood attached to a long stick of wood, and he planned to kill his wife and kids with it. He could be in a clown costume. Wait, bad example. He could be using a damn toy hammer and still find a way to kill with it.
Anywho, to further distance himself away from the Kubrick movie, King held a voting contest to whether or not his fans wanted another Dark Tower sequel or a direct sequel to The Shining. While Dr. Sleep got voted first, Wind Through the Keyhole got published first.
It took me a while to get this book, and my copy doesn't have a dust jacket on it because it was used. There will be spoilers.
The story goes like so. It starts taking place not too long after the end of The Shining. Danny Torrance is living in peace with Wendy Torrance and Dick Halloran.
What's that you say? That's impossible? Jack kills him? He lives in the book.
However, not all is peaceful, as Horace Derwent and the Bathtub Lady manage to escape the confines of the wrecked Overlook Hotel, so Dick teaches Danny a way to stop them for good. Now here's where it gets interesting. Unlike the Kubrick version, which only explores the telepathy and the precognition effects, the King version, which is hinted at in the first book, describes The Shining as more of an energy source for many great things.
Kinda like the Force in Star Wars. In this case, Danny can use The Shining to lock spirits away in Fox's mind. That's just awesome.
It flashes forward to 2001, where Danny, now Dan, is an adult. Wendy and Halloran are long dead for real this time, and he's taken up his dad's alcoholism while at the same time becoming a drifter a la Roland. Along the way, Dan gets a job at a hospice in Fraser, New Hampshire. A King book not taking place in Maine? What's this world coming to? He uses his abilities to communicate with dying old folks and helping them pass off, earning him the name Dr. Sleep. Around the same time, he inadvertently established a telepathic bond with the then newborn Abra Stone, who also has The Shining, but is much stronger than even Dan. 12 years later, Dan is off the sauce and still communicating with Abra. They both discover that a group of beings called the True Knot are after kids with The Shining for the sole purpose of feeding on them to extend their life. The group is led by a woman named Rose the Hat, who starts to have an Ahab-like fascination with Abra. After the recent kill of a kid known as the Baseball Boy, the Knot contract the measles and begin dying off one by one, causing Rose to hasten her pursuit of Abra in hopes of her shining or steam as they call it, would cure them of the disease. This prompts Dan and his friends to go rescue her. After convincing her over a protective, skeptic father, they set out to stop the True Knot once and for all. In a rather clever ploy by the duo, which ended up bumping off 3 more True Knot members and enraging Rose.
Man, it's hot in here. Not even the fan is working for me. God, I need a drink. Give my damn soul just for a bottle of carbonated water. Oh, hi, ST. It's a little slow in Sierra World, isn't it? I guess it is. What's up? Well, I'm very glad you asked me that. See, I've been hankering for some soda water and I'm too lazy to go to the fridge. You think you could? I don't mind at all. Oh, thank you. You know, a lot of people like the Kubrick version, and I don't blame them. It does scare people. But when you look into it, it just seems like a waste of a perfectly good plot. I mean, you have hedge animals coming after you, a crazy guy stalking the hotel with a mallet, and the entire thing is going up in flames. Hell, Kubrick could have used the same guys he did with Full Metal Jacket to do those flames. And that was 33 goddamn years ago. Some of the effects alone would have been groundbreaking. You really ought to give Kubrick a break. I mean, this film is far more superior. Guess you're... Wait, what did you say? I said you should give him a break. His film may not have much plot as a book, but at least he tried. I mean, hell, he wanted the animals in the shot, he just couldn't find the right way to do it. Wouldn't it kill him to hire Jim Henson? He wouldn't like the violent content. I wouldn't stop him from doing the Ninja Turtles. When are you going to review the new one, by the way? When I see the movie. Okay, calm down. Oh, beware of the Kubrick guys. What? Oh, you don't know. Well, angry Kubrick fans found a means to attack their critics by creating an artificial spirit that psychologically tortures those that have a hint of negative thoughts on his works. In fact, he's probably doing that to you right now. Okay, stop that. You don't scare me. I'm going to finish this review.
Rose goes into a bit of a mind war with Abra in revenge for Dan and his friends killing the members of the True Knot. And Crow Daddy, Rose's right-hand man, kidnaps her using Dan's friend's Billy's truck as transport, knocking Billy out in the process. Dan, Abra's Dr. John, and Abra's father Dave went looking for Abra. Once Dan managed to contact Abra, they switched bodies, causing Dan to force Crow Daddy out of the truck and have a psychic battle with him, buying enough time to wake Billy up, who kills Crow Daddy. Enraged at his death, Rose is hell-bent on getting Abra even though the rest of the True Knot are having doubts. Abra, however, directly challenges Rose before arresting for what could be the final confrontation. Dan, on the other hand, goes to Abra's grandmother, Conchetta. I like this part because of the bilingual dialogue between them. Dan communicating with Conchetta in English while Conchetta is responded in Italian. So add Polygot to the list of shine powers. He helps her pass on and allows her steam to be transferred into him, catching Conchetta's cancer in the process. Then and there he finds out he's related to the Stone family through his father, Jack, as Abra's mother, Lucy, is Dan's half-sister. After explaining their story to Lucy, Dan and the gang come to the realization that Rose won't stop pursuing Abra, so they all decide to go to the one place Dan knows very well, the grounds of the destroyed Overlook. Along the way, Abra decides to call Rose for the sole purpose of verbally bitch-slapping her. Hell, the chapter is called The Bitch Girl, while at the same time Dan is struggling to keep Conchetta's cancer from killing him. Dan, Billy, and Abra drive off to the Overlook, Abra using astral projection so she can stay home and help them at the same time. Upon meeting the True Knot, Dan unleashed Conchetta's cancer-filled steam on many members, killing them, making the survivors flee and leaving Rose for last. Rose, in a last-ditch effort, managed to trick Dan into strangling Abra, but Abra frees him from Rose's influence. Abra went back into her body, leaving Danny to face Rose alone, who is using a remaining member, Sari, for an ambush. However, that plan failed epically when the spirit of Horace Derwent, who Danny kept in his own mind, killed poor Sari. Now it's just Danny and Rose in a psychic battle that would put Scanners to shame. As she was about to kill Danny, Abra came back and the two pushed her right off the Rockies, sending the True Knot to hell where they belong. Abra was back home and Dan got to see the spirit of his father one final time. The book ends with Danny being 15 years sober, gets to see his newly found niece on her birthday, and helps another dying person rest in peace.
Now, compared to The Shining, this book shatters all expectations, and might even be better than the first. It gets more into what The Shining is and how else it can be used. It introduces the fun and scene villains such as Rose and the True Knot, even going as far as hinting that there is some connection between them and the old book. It even takes a moment to either praise good works such as Game of Thrones, as well as blasting things archenemy such as Twilight. But all in all, it's a good read, and I cannot wait for them to adapt it one day. Come on, they made a miniseries of The Shining. It's bound to happen sooner or later. Wonder if Uncle's going to play Danny again. As usual, debate, argue, and let me know what it is. See if you can more there. Got through this without any further conflicts. I knew there wasn't such thing as a good guy.